Ahsoka, let's go! Episode 2, was it good? Let's get into the review. Everything sucks. Okay, guys. There was going to be an extended review of this episode, but after watching it, I don't even need to do a review. I can cram it into like 60 seconds right now. It's boring and nothing really happens. So this is going to be like part of episode 3's review. It's going to be right at the beginning of that. And I got it under 60 seconds. In fact, I got it under 30. That's just how great I am. But stay tuned for the episode 3 review now. So the best part about this episode is the fact that it's much shorter than the previous two. Disney always does this thing where the first episode's an hour, second one's 40, and then the rest are 30, and then maybe the season finale will be like a good hour. So this episode actually isn't as bad as the previous two, but I feel like I just didn't need to watch this episode. I kind of got the same feeling I did from episode 2 from this one. So it opens with a training sequence where Sabine is training with a droid and Ahsoka walks in. And Ahsoka basically tells her that you need like one-on-one training with like another Force user because you're going to be fighting Force users in the future. Sabine, of course, takes this as an opportunity to like subtly remind Ahsoka that she's strong and doesn't need real training. And she reminds us that she survived a lightsaber stab. And she's like, well, it's been a while anyway. She makes all these excuses. Then Ahsoka puts her in her place and says, you'd basically be dead if you were fighting somebody like me. And she does like this like force manipulation move because Sabine is blindfolded and then she like manipulates her voice. Ahsoka manipulates her voice to make it seem like she's behind her, but she's actually like to her right. It's actually an interesting training sequence. And I have no complaints on that. But the next part, I do have a huge complaint over. So Hera actually goes to the council and is trying to get approval to go to the Outer Realm and find Grand Admiral Thrawn. And the council, rightfully so, tells her, yeah, nobody has ever survived going there. Thrawn is dead. Ezra is dead, which they love hinting at Ezra. We haven't seen him in the show at all, other than the painting on the wall. But, of course, the member berries have to rear their head and say, hey, remember Ezra? Remember Ezra? Which is obvious foreshadowing that Ezra is the Inquisitor character, right? The Inquisitor type character, the Marat character, the guy that has the double-bladed red lightsaber with like that blade on it. That's, I'll say like 90% Ezra, which is, I mean, we already know the moment we saw like a fully masked character that it was going to be somebody we knew in the past. If it's not, what's the point of wearing the full head-to-toe mask, everything covered? But anyway, Hera actually calls the council cowards, and she reminds the male counselors that they were just cowards and sat on their hands while she and strong, independent women, generals, were out there fighting a war. Then it cuts back. The editing in this is so horrible. It's sloppy. It's all over the place. It cuts back to Sabine and Ahsoka on what seems to be a date. And Ahsoka's telling Sabine that she's strong and the Force flows through everything, suggesting that Sabine actually might be Force sensitive, even though it is very rare for a Mandalorian to become a Jedi. And Ahsoka walks away and they're like, okay, we have a mission to do. Sabine's sitting at the table and she's trying to use the Force. And this is on its way to being one of the dumbest things ever. Because if they do what I think they're going to do, there's no need for Ahsoka. Like, this should be a passing of the torch. Ahsoka should die in this show if they do what I think they're doing. She's playing like an Obi-Wan type role, right? And I think they're going to have Sabine use the Force when something happens that requires only her to save the day. So this is like another bait and switch by Disney, right? The last show we had was the Obi-Wan show, and then it became the Have Sympathy for Reva show. This show is called Ahsoka, and it is looking like it's going to become the Have Sympathy for Sabine show, and potentially her being the hero of the day. So another sloppy edit occurs, and we're just in space now, and we're looking for like this knockoff Halo ring. If you've ever played the video game Halo, it's basically that they're looking for. Unless this has appeared as Star Wars media before. It may have, I don't know. It's supposed to be like some kind of ship or something that can go light years away to like find Thrawn or something like that. I don't know. She couldn't, because hey, I guess Era couldn't get the government support she needed. So they're going looking for that, and then guess who shows up? It's not explained how they were tracked, but Balin, Shin. I'm trying to remember like the main villains' names because they're just so uninteresting. Balin, Shin, Marak, which are like the 3 dark users, and then a whole bunch of nameless. I don't even know what to call them. They're not Empire. I guess you could say former Empire / sympathizers, Empire sympathizers show up, and Sabine goes to the back of the ship and starts shooting at them. Now we know that the nameless people are gonna die because they're just named. They're essentially like the red shirts from Star Trek. Like anytime you see a nameless person show up, you know the nameless people are there to act as fodder to make the good guys look, well, good. So they're shooting at them. They of course blow them out of the sky. For some reason, the dark users, keep in mind that they have the Force, which is supposed to like increase your reaction time a lot. And I'm talking about the main 3, not the nameless, faceless drones. They're supposed to increase your reaction time. It's supposed to make you a better pilot overall. Darth Vader was a great pilot. Luke Skywalker all but single-handedly destroyed the Death Star. He was like the key to doing this, right? Because he had the Force. He had Obi-Wan guiding him through the Force. But these dark users, for some reason, just are garbage pilots, right? And they're not ganging up on the one ship in the open space that they need to destroy. They're just letting like their other ships get blown out of the sky. This was just sad and pathetic to me. It's like, okay, we get it. Like, why even send the dark users? Well, we'll get to that later. The dark users are there for a reason, and the ending of this episode is just like, oh my goodness, like nothing happened in this episode again. So they're blowing away the drone characters, the bots, the grunts, whatever you want to call them, and then they actually take a hit, which is shocking. But unlike all the other ships who get blown out of the sky in one hit, it just knocks out their systems temporarily. So Sabine has to fix it, but they're still taking fire out all this time. So Ahsoka's like, well, I should actually go to the most dangerous part of the ship, which is the outside, and just fight them with lightsabers. So now we have ships flying around the sky, which can stay at a safe distance and basically shoot unlimited lasers at her, versus one Force user. So okay, I mean, I don't know how she survives this, but let's see what they do with this. And apparently there's one like grunt left, one nameless, faceless pilot, and for some reason during their assault, they fly as close to her ship as possible. So they have the advantage of range, and they're like, let's just fly close to somebody who has a lightsaber that can essentially cut through anything. Now, Disney is very inconsistent when it comes to lightsabers, but it looks like now we got like old school lightsabers who can cut through anything, can destroy anything. So Ahsoka just like She looks like King Kong on the top of the Empire State Building. She just jumps up and like awkwardly swings and destroys one of the ships, right? The last nameless, faceless pilot, right? And then the systems are back online, and the Dark Force users have the common sense to like not fly close, but at the same time not shoot at Ahsoka or the ship that has zero defenses and is not powered at all, so it's just sitting there in open space. And then they go down to this planet, and then they like dodge some space whales, and they like manipulate the ship in a way where they can outrun, the finest the other Force users. For some reason, they don't know how to fly a ship. This one ship, Ahsoka ship, of course, lands safely. Now, this is also what happens in this is it's the first time we hear Marak speak, so that's kind of interesting. But his voice is he has a voice modulator for some reason, because why not, right? And he has like this deep distorted voice, so you can't hear if it's like Ezra or somebody, right? Another, of course, key indicator that it's somebody we know from the past. So just get it over with at this point. What is the point of stringing us along? They finally land on the planet, and then the Dark Force users are like, "Hey, why don't we just scan this planet instead of just like flying around saying, 'Oh no, we lost'?" So the Ahsoka and their team scan the Halo ring, and they're like, "Okay, now we know how to use it." And then the Dark Force users land on said planet too, and they're like, "Okay, find the Jedi," or some corny line like that. And it basically blue balls us for a big lightsaber duel that's going to happen the next episode, and then it ends. So my overall thoughts on this episode: it's just a collection of scenes. It was very awkwardly paced. It was like, okay, we're doing training. Like, if you're gonna start the episode with training, why not just make the whole episode a training episode and then have like all the real stuff happen, or maybe a time jump or something, right? But it's like, okay, training, check. Getting denied by the council, check. It's all things we've seen before from Star Wars. Force user, I guess I'm talking about Sabine now. Potential Force user shows signs that they can use the Force, check. Robot that's annoying but useful, check. Space battle, check. Heroes are on the ropes, I guess, check. Because the Dark Jedi do have access to what seems like some kind of combat drones or something like that they can send after Ahsoka and them. Hopefully they don't announce themselves this time before they self-destruct, and they just run in there and actually do some damage, but I highly doubt that. But am I looking forward to the next episode? And the answer may surprise you. Yes, because I want to see something actually happen. And usually when a lightsaber duel occurs, and maybe I'm having too much faith in Disney, Dave Filoni, and whoever else is behind this. Undeserved faith, by the way. But I'm really, really hoping that this lightsaber duel actually leads to something massive happening. Ahsoka maybe taken out of the equation. I'm not saying killed, but maybe like, I don't know, maybe she gets stabbed, maybe she loses a limb, and then this is like the true passing of the torch to Sabine. She has to stand up and rise as a Jedi. But if that doesn't happen, if it's just lightsaber duel, and then, God forbid, one of the main villains is defeated, and by defeated I mean killed, or maybe one of the villains betrays the other villain, or something stupid like that happens, I'm not sure if I can finish this. I like Kylo Ren said, that movie was garbage, but I did like the line, I know what I have to do, but I don't know if I have the strength to do it. I'm not sure I'll have the strength to finish this show. I think that's the halfway point, right? And in these Disney shows, if we look at any of the ones of the past, they always have the heroes lose during the halfway point. So I'm hoping they continue that trend actually with this, and have Sabine or Ahsoka more than likely suffer a huge defeat, or they show who Marak is. I think an emotional defeat would be great for the next episode. But I'm rambling at this point. Everything sucks. Signing out.